notice it said Joseph is a fruitful bow. Hence the name Ephraim. Because it's not talking about Joseph the man. It's talking about one of his two sons. He had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. Manasseh was the firstborn son. Ephraim was the secondborn son. Now, according to law and custom, the inheritance went to your oldest son. All right? Now, when Joseph went, and you can read the story yourself, when Joseph went before Jacob to get his sons blessed, Jacob put his hand, his principal hand, which was his right hand, on Ephraim's head, and Joseph said, "No, that's wrong. That's not the oldest son." But the Spirit was working through Jacob, because Jacob was going to be the principal son. I mean, Ephraim was going to be the principal son out of Joseph's two sons. And Ephraim is a bigger tribe than Manasseh. All right? Read that again.
Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall. Now, a well is where you get water. When you go down the island of Puerto Rico, there's nothing but water over there, man. Nothing but water. Nothing but tropical conditions down there. You can be homeless down there all year round and do well. You can pick the fruits off the trees. Because we got brothers in the camp that actually went to Puerto Rico. You can literally live off the land, man. All right, go ahead. Whose branches run over the wall. The precept on the branches is daughters.
Right. Look up the word branches now. Look up the word branches.
Verse 22, same verse.
So as soon as you get it, all right. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Hebrew word there for branches is, I'm going to click on it, is, yeah, they got, they got bath. Looks like bath. Yeah. Well, like Elder Tar said, it's supposed to be banaf, which is the Hebrew word for daughter. But they do have the correct definition. The word there is baf they have, but it says daughter, girl, adopted daughter, daughter-in-law. Anyway, the definition is daughter.
So that bough and that branch going over the wall is talking about what? The tribe of Ephraim coming over here to the Americas. Because out of all the tribes, what you got to understand is Judah was already over here based upon slavery. The first major tribe to come over here of the rest of the tribes were Ephraim. Now I know that the 40s, maybe even the 30s, right? The mid 30s, into the 40s, on up until the 50s and 60s, you had Puerto Ricans coming up here to the Americas, long before the Brazilians, the tribe of Asher, long before Issachar, long before these other tribes as a bulk. And then maybe around the 60s you had Issachar coming up here, but then again you had a lot of Issacharites living over there in the west too, because Mexico is right under California. But the major tribe that came to the Americas in bulk was Ephraim, outside of Judah. All right.
All right. It says whose branches run over the wall.
Whose branches run over the wall. It's talking about they left Puerto Rico to come to America to have a better life. All right. Go ahead.
The archers have sorely grieved him.
The archers is talking about Esau, the so-called white man, first in the form of the conquistadors, which means the conquerors, which at first came from Spain. Then when you came over here, you caught hell over here, man. Now let's go from there to the book of Hosea, the 9th chapter and the 13th verse. And these breakdowns are spiritual, because you can have somebody say, nah, they ain't talking about that, can mean this.
because your spirit is not connected to these scriptures and to the Most High. How about Shem Yahweh Shai? That's why a lot of our people is not going to get this, man. They're not going to get this information because their mind is not open up and their spirit is not open up to receive this. That's why Yahweh Shai told the disciples when he was breaking down that John the Baptist as Elijah, what did he say? He broke it down to him 2 times in Matthew's. 2 different times in Matthew's. And he said, what? In Matthew's 11, I believe it was. He said, if you can receive this. Because not everybody's going to receive it. All right, go ahead.
Read this real quick, Elder. This is Romans 11:7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded.
Yeah, so you can't, if the Most High deem you to be blind to this knowledge, guess what? You're gonna stay blind. You can't make yourself get this word. Okay? And a lot of you brothers that when you first saw us on YouTube, you got into it and then you went the right route and you set up camps, you learned this word, you set up camps and you're out there teaching. But there was some of you guys that got this knowledge, acknowledged that we had the truth, but you brought it out your own way. Okay, you went a different way. You wasn't grounded in. So you got some of those guys that are bucking up against us now because they didn't go through the straight gate. Okay, go ahead.
Hosea chapter 9 verse 13. Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, is planted in a pleasant place.
Puerto Rico is a pleasant place. Go ahead.
But Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer.
Now that's plain. Like I said, the first tribe outside of the tribe of Judah, out of all the tribes, Ephraim was the first to come to the Americas in bulk. Just like Judah came to the Americas, was brought over here against his will, and to serve him in America in bulk, Ephraim was the same way. Okay? Because you have Ephraimites that were born in Puerto Rico that refer to the Ephraimites that are in the Americas, mainly New York, because a lot of Ephraimites came to New York. A lot of Ephraimites went to Chicago, certain major cities to get work. Now you got Ephraimites that moved down to Florida. You got a lot of Ephraimites down there in the South. You got a lot of Ephraimites living in Pennsylvania, man. Okay? But the Puerto Ricans, the so-called Puerto Ricans that were born in Puerto Rico, they refer to the Puerto Ricans up here in New York as New York Ricans. Like you're really not Puerto Ricans. It goes back to what? Judah looking at the tribes in the Gentile state of mind, for lack of a better word, you're not our people. They actually have relatives, man. You actually have cousins that live down in Puerto Rico. You have the same blood relatives, but them cousins, your same blood, they say, well, you're really not a Puerto. Well, how can you really not be a Puerto Rican when you're actually blood cousins? Okay? All right, go ahead, Ak.
Verse 14. Give them, O Lord, what wilt thou give them?
That's all I wanted. Okay, that's all I wanted. Now let's go back to Genesis 49. What verse did we leave off in? 23.
The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him.
That's talking about Esau. Whether you call you're referring to Esau over here in the Americas, or whether you're talking about the Edomites during the time of the conquistadors coming over here or going to the islands, they all hated the tribe of Ephraim just like they hate the tribe of Judah. Go ahead.
It says, but his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hand of the mighty power of Jacob.
What did it mean by that? Them Edomites wanted to get that gold. That's why they call that land Puerto Rico, rich port, because they wanted to kill off all the Ephraimites, the tribe of Ephraim, so they can get that gold and they can get that land. But the Most High blessed them. Part of their blessing was to be fruitful. That's why the word Ephraim, the tribe Ephraim, means fruitful. They're going to have a lot of children. All right?
From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. even by the power or the God of thy fathers,